Hello and welcome to coverage of Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad. This is Gabby Spartz with Pro Tour Hall of Famer Randy Buehler in the booth. And we're getting ready to move into round 14. We have a lot of sweet matches for you this round, so let's get going. The players are ready. Let's head down to the feature match area. Hello and welcome back to coverage of Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad. This is Gabby Spartz with Pro Tour Hall of Famer Randy Buehler in the booth. And we are getting ready to watch round 14. Now, our main match is going to be against Lukas Tiu versus
Lukas Blohon.
Oh, Blohon? Excuse me, Lukas Blohon versus Tim Oliver. And these decks, Randy, these decks are sweet.
What is going on? This is Jund versus Grixis? Yeah, there you get a good look at Lukas Blohon. He's got 4 main deck Goblin Dark Dwellers, Den Protector, Sylvan Advocate, Kalitas, Chandra, Jund Value, and he's paired against Oliver Tiu. Oliver has got the Grixis Life, also 4 main deck Goblin Dark Dwellers. That's 8 Goblin Dark Dwellers between the two of these guys in the main. What format are we playing, Gabby?
It's called the Value format, which is a lot of formats.
Okay.
It's a lot of formats. Wandering Fumarole to start out for Oliver.
Yeah, Blohon's got 5 Grand Prix top 8s, including a win. He's got 1 Pro Tour top 8. He's a gold level pro, been around, doing reasonably well for a number of years. Oliver Tiu, we talk about up-and-comers a lot, and it's normally like, oh yeah, this guy's in his 7th Pro Tour, he's done well in the Grand Prix. Oliver's in Pro Tour number 3. He's gone 9-7, then 12-4. Mm-hmm. He just wants to keep getting better. He just keeps doing better. 12-4 for top 16 at the last PT. Not good enough. And yeah, this is a guy that, you heard Brian talking about this. Everyone who's playing at the top of the game, everyone who's kind of hanging out on the top tables, they know who this guy is. And they're tired of losing to him. They're like, where did you come from? 18 years old.
That is so impressive. Randy, tell us a little bit about what this match means for these two players right now.
It's basically an elimination match for top 8. Like maybe with a 4th loss, they could sneak in on tiebreakers, but picking the 4th loss up this early, I think these guys know if they pick up a 4th loss now, they're not going to make top 8. They can still make plenty of money, plenty of pro points, but the winner sort of sets themselves up for a win-in next round, or at least they hope. Mm-hmm. These guys basically want to go win, handshake, and come back tomorrow.
And we're starting to get a little taste of the value life we see here from Oliver. Read the bones into draw a lot of cards into Kalitas. It's a nice start for him.
Indeed.
This is a treat. We haven't seen it. We haven't seen this deck in the feature match area today.
No, I haven't seen either of these decks.
Neither
really.
of them. Yeah. So Randy, tell me a little bit about Oliver's deck.
Oliver's deck it's Grixis Value. It's Dark Dwellers to flashback spells like Kolaghan's Command, Fiery Impulse, Read the Bones. You've got Jace that can also fuel just that inevitability and that incremental value. Kalitas you see in play right now. It's a bunch of removal spells, some Planeswalkers, there's some Chandras too. And I think you're seeing a lot of these sort of control decks, for lack of a better description. I mean, it used to be thought of control decks as decks having counter spells. That's just not really where control is in Standard right now. We've seen, John Finkel's playing a black-green control deck. Well, Oliver's saying, how about just a different set of colors, a different set of details.
Yeah, but it's a pure control deck.
Absolutely. I mean, it's wow, Goblin Dark Dwellers is maybe having its breakout moment.
And on the other side of the battlefield, tell us about Lucas's deck.
It's a little more creature-focused. Sylvan Advocate is a 2-drop that can attack and apply pressure. Den Protector is where some of the card advantage is coming from. It's not dissimilar, though. I mean, the decks overlap by Goblin Dark Dweller and Chandra and Kalitas. That's a pretty big overlap. I mean, they overlap by some of the removal spells as well. Transgress the Mind, Kolaghan's Command, Read the Bones. It's really, a lot of the same black and red cards. It's just Oliver has chosen to pair them with blue. Lukas has chosen to pair them with green.
We might be gearing up to see a long game here. On top for Oliver, and Kalitas is going to rumble.
Yeah, this game's never going to go short. I mean, I guess somebody can have mana problems, but I see 5 lands on both sides of the board, and they're basically going to be trying to out 2-for-1 each other. Who can resolve more Read the Bones and Goblin Dark Dweller type spells?
Well, Jace is the kind of start if you want to start 2-for-1ing your opponent or more.
Yeah, I mean, without having watched this matchup specifically before, I feel like the guy who has gone with blue mana for Jace probably has the matchup advantage, and that's Oliver Tiu.
So Oliver's going to send it back to Lukas, but that Jace is going to meet a Fiery Impulse and go to the graveyard, so no more card advantage for Oliver, not in the form of Jace at least.
Yeah, there's more shuffle in this deck, right? It's kind of like Sylvan Advocate facing off against Jace. Which 2-drop do you want? Which color do you want?
Oliver's going to sacrifice that Evolving Wilds.
It's interesting how this tournament has not really been about Jace. I mean, that's a card I think coming into the standard format, a lot of people were worried. Jace was so good before Shadows in Innistrad came in, before this rotation really transformed standard. But no fetch lands make Jace a little bit worse. You know, no crazy fetch land mana bases. Mana bases make it harder to splash Jace in your deck. Still good, but I think on balance, not as good as it was a couple months ago.
Another Fiery Impulse is the draw for Oliver. No real good targets at this point, though. They could get better later on in the game. Ooh, Fumarol's gonna rumble.
Wow.
That's a pretty aggressive line here by Oliver. Do you think he wants to finish the game quickly?
Sounds good if you can get it to work.
He's gonna choose to switch Power and Toughness. That's a lot of damage coming over to Lukas. 7 points. Sylvan Advocate is a draw for him. Blohon has 5 GP top 8s. He was most recently the champion of GP Brussels in 2015. Very recent win. He also top 8'd Pro Tour Honolulu in 2012. Sylvan Advocate is a play for Blohon. It's so shiny.
I mean, good card. So many removal spells in Oliver's deck, though. Feels like I'd be surprised if that can take over the game.
Yeah, and Fiery Impulse is also going to be able to take down Spells Masteries Online, which it seems like it might be soon. There's only Sorcery in the graveyard right now, I think.
For Oliver?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got 2. He's got Transgress.
He does that? Oh, Transgress isn't there?
Yeah.
So yeah, oh, but Sylvan Advocate is actually
it's big.
Quite large right now.
I think Oliver has an ultimate price. Ultimate price Grasp of Darkness can just remove both of Lucas's creatures. Yeah, get the
so
Kalitas first.
Grasp of Darkness takes care of Kalitas. Get a zombie. And the Ultimate Price should take care of the Sylvan Advocate here. Pew pew. Down it goes. How relevant is it? Oh, it is relevant that these creatures are getting exiled due to Kalitas right now, as Lukas plays copies of Den Protector in his deck.
Sure. Yeah, the zombies are probably the more relevant offshoot, but yeah. Wow.
Transgress the mind and
take a peek so I have more information for next game, and then scoop them up.
And then no sir. And that's going to do it for Game 1 here from Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad. We'll be back after these messages.
Unravel the madness. Shadows over Innistrad is now available on Magic Online. Explore the new set by signing up for Magic Online at mtgo.com. In the art of Magic the Gathering Zendikar, you can experience the danger and beauty of Zendikar like never before. This lavishly illustrated hardcover book features the award-winning art of Magic the Gathering and gives you an insider's look at the secrets of Zendikar, its peoples, continents, and creatures. On sale now.
Magic is kind of the only thing in my life that I ever wanted to be good at, that I ever dedicated my time to, and I just haven't really stopped.
The one thing I guess I would say to people is, my son never loses. He's relentless. He's relentless.
I would want to have a legacy. I was the first female to top 8 a Pro Tour. It was like a huge moment in Magic history. And I want to be remembered as that person, and I want other females to be inspired to play or do as well as I did.
Yeah, I mean, I still love playing Magic, and for me, it's like the Hall of Fame is so close. I feel like, you know, one more good Pro Tour finish even could get me back on the ballot, maybe get me in the Hall of Fame.
Hello and welcome to coverage of Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad. This is Gabby Sparts with Randy Bueller in the booth, and we're taking a look at one of our back matches. We'll be looking at Seth Manfield playing Esper Control versus Jeremy Dasani playing Abs and Company. Looks like a Narset is down on the battlefield. He was able to reveal something out of it, so the card drawing engine is online. Obnixilis is the play for Seth. Taking down that Sylvan Advocate. And pass back to Jeremy.
Seth lost that crazy long match against Brad Nelson last round, so he's out of losses to give, sitting on 10-3. Jeremy's at 10-2-1, so could still lose and run up a top 8.
Sylvan Advocate and Matter Reshaper for Jeremy, though. Staring at that Obnixilis is going to be difficult to battle through.
Wow, sounds like John Finkel is up a game over on the King of the Hill table, playing against Cheyenne Sang from Malaysia, mono white humans player who's on 11-2 and could clinch, could get that magic 12th win if he can beat John Finkel. No big deal. Just
beat John Finkel.
Guy only has like 580 more pro points than you do.
Finkel has 600 lifetime pro points. I was just looking it up.
Yeah. And Chai has 24.
So Swamp is a draw for Seth. Taking up Narset and Anticipate. What do you make of this, what do we want to call it?
Esper Control. I like
Friends?
Esper Super Friends is fine too.
What do you make of this deck?
It looks good. I mean, it looks cool. It looks like a deck I would enjoy playing. It does look like it can potentially be run over, but we haven't seen a lot of aggro. Like, we keep seeing these value decks or control decks in the top 8, and I think that because Bant Company was the target that everyone wanted to beat, people have played slower decks, more control-ish decks that they think can beat Bant Company. Now, the question is, can an aggro deck show up and just crush everyone? Wow, sounds like Brad Nelson has won his first game against Luis Scott Vargas. Brad playing a win-in. He's also on 11-2. So he gets the Magic 12th win if he can beat Luis. And, I mean, Luis
still needs at least a draw.
Right, we're calling 12 the magic number, assuming that these guys are going to manage to get the draw they need. But yeah, I mean, they're clearly playing, right? Luis still needs that point, and he'll take 3 points. And
wow, tragic arrogance. Tragic arrogance. And this is the same board state that Seth Manfield had assembled just one round ago. Though this time, he's only going to get to keep one of those planeswalkers.
Tragic arrogance to kill 2 planeswalkers.
I will say that's never a mode that I've seen on Tragic Arrogance before.
Me neither. Yeah, we should go back to the front table.
Yeah, I agree. We'll be moving back to our front table, and we'll get updates on how Jeremy Dasani and Seth Manfield are doing later on in this match.
You see Oliver's stats, 18 years old, $6,000 in winnings. Most of that from the last Pro Tour where, we talk about that 12 win is the magic number. He got to the 12 wins, but he got there at the end. He 12-4 and missed top 8 on tiebreakers. Trying just to do a point better.
Taking a look at his hand. Smoldering Marsh, Swamp, Fiery Impulse, Grasp of Darkness, Kolaghan's Command, and Evolving Wilds. He's a little flooded.
Jace can fix that if it survives. What's Lukas got going on?
Looking at these decks post-board, Randy, you know, they are very clearly trying to grind each other out in many ways. What do you think, or who do you think this favors once they go post-board?
Lukas has a bunch of ways to attack Oliver's hand. He's got 3 Duress, 2 Transgress. Those seem potentially pretty interesting to me. Both players have Dragon Master Outcast in their sideboard, which is kind of cool.
If you expect a really long game, you know?
No, it makes sense. It seems like a potentially good card. 2 apiece, though. Oh, Oliver has Dragon Lord Silumgar in his sideboard. Wonder if that comes in.
So Kolaghan's Command targeting Lukas is going to cause him to discard a Goblin Dark Dwellers. Game Trail is a draw for the turn. Pass back to Oliver. Read the Bones is going to create some nice card advantage here. Ultimate Prize and a Smoldering Marsh. He does not like either. Instead, he found Kalidas and a Wandering Fumarole. Two more mana, another Jace that is yet again going down.
Wow, and he bought back Dark Dwellers? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I believe so.
Raised Goblin Dark Dwellers from the dead. There you see Den Protector. I was talking about how Sylvan Advocate versus Jace is kind of the 2-drop comparison. You know, green mana for Lukas, blue mana for Oliver. But it's really Den Protector that you should probably be lining up against Jace.
Yeah, for sure.
That
Den
seems
Protector
like,
looks really good right here.
it really does. I mean, it's sure Oliver can kill it, but Lukas will get to flip it. He waited until he had enough mana to play it and flip it all at the same time.
I'm getting an update from one of our back tables. Seth Manfield is up against Jeremy Dasani.
Wow, so Tragic Arrogance to kill 2 Planeswalkers was not good enough.
Not good enough, it seems. I mean, you're still leaving your opponent with a Planeswalker in play.
Yeah, 1 Planeswalker is often good enough.
Wandering Fumarole for Oliver. Kalidas hits the red zone. Well, not the red zone quite just yet. Does hit the battlefield. Den Protector will flip. A Megamorph targeting.
Grasp or Kolaghan's Command?
How worried are you about this Kalidas here?
Still doing my own face.
Yeah, Fiery Impulse is going to take down that Den Protector. So he did choose Kolaghan's Command here. Mountain is a draw for Lukas.
I think he's got a Ruinous Path.
Yeah, and he's going to awaken. Ruinous Path,
wow.
targeting Kalidas, awaken the Llanowar Waste.
Speaking of 2-for-1s.
So that was a nice sequence of events there for Lukas.
It's just everything is a 2-for-1. Den Protector was a 2-for-1. Kalitas left behind a zombie. It's a 2-for-1. Ruinous Path is a 2-for-1. Transgress gonna deprive Lukas Blohon of a 2-for-1.
Yeah, both cards currently in Blohon's hand are 2-for-1s.
Take dollars.
Interestingly enough, Oliver has a Grasp of Darkness in hand, so taking the Dark Dwellers isn't necessarily the immediate play, isn't necessarily obvious to be the thing he wants to take. Though
But that is what he settled
That
on.
is ultimately what he settled on. He takes the Goblin Dark Dwellers and lets Lukas keep that Kolaghan's Command. Grasp of Darkness is going to take care of that Llanowar Waste that's been awakened. And a pass back to Lukas.
That's just a 1-for-1. Are those allowed?
Doesn't seem like it is in this matchup.
Well, I guess you could argue that Oliver deprived him of both a land and a 4/4 creature. So
Sure.
We'll call it a 2-for-1 for now.
Smoldering Marsh for Lucas and a pass back to Oliver. He still has that Kolaghan's Command in hand that can take care of that zombie, though. Oliver has a grip full of hands at this point. Or a grip full of cards at this point.
Yeah, it does feel like Oliver has somehow maneuvered this better.
To his advantage.
Getting the Goblin Dark Dwellers exiled is particularly nice in that you can't get it back with Kolaghan's Command.
Or Dam Protector.
Right.
Yeah, so Kalidas comes down to the battlefield. That zombie's going to rumble. Kolaghan's Command, having him discard a card. He sacrifices it to Kalidas to grow it. Very nice play. And discarding Jace. Unfortunately, Lucas only found a land off the top of his deck.
I'm even more impressed by Oliver Tiu. I mean, I kind of heard. I watched him a little bit when he was in top 8 contention in Atlanta, and you could tell he was good. You can tell people were, starting to take note of him.
Yeah.
It looks even better now that I watch him here.
Wandering Fumarole is going to rumble here. Do you think there's a reason why? Oh, there's a Hissing Quagmire on Lucas' side of the battlefield. I was wondering why he wasn't attacking with Kalidas. He's only finding lands off the top. We're going to see a pass back to Oliver. Oliver rumbling in again. I was wondering Fumarole. He's taking another 4.
Kid seems legit. Seems super confident too, He knows his deck. He understands what he needs to accomplish with it.
Was that Dark Petition in Lucas's hand?
Yes. I think it is.
Indeed it is. Dark Petition for Lucas. Gets to tutor up any card in this deck at this point.
Add yet another archetype to the list of places Dark Petition has shown up this weekend.
Dark Petition has honestly been a breakout card this weekend. It really has.
Yep.
So he has chosen Ruinous Path.
Yep. Dark Petition for Ruinous Path. The 3 mana from Spell Mastery plus those 4 means he can cast Ruinous Path and awaken one of his lands. So down goes Kalitas.
And in comes a 4/4.
Nice line.
Yeah, that worked out. That sequence worked out very nicely for Lucas. Though he doesn't have any cards in hand, and it looks like Oliver has drawn something relevant here. It's a Goblin Dark Dwellers. Here we go. 2-for-1 Value Town. Read the bones.
Wow. Who needs to kill that 4/4?
He left them both on top. Kolaghan's Command was one of the cards he found.
And another Dark Dwellers, I believe. Maybe he had that before.
During your draw phase, discard a card.
So during his draw step, he's making him discard a card.
Ooh, the draw step lock.
If it's an instant, oh, it was a Dragon Master Outcast. Smoldering Marsh is the draw for Oliver.
Yeah, even the Dark Petition off the top doesn't seem like it's good enough for Lucas. Oliver, just the full grip.
I just got a very sweet update from one of our back tables. Brett Nelson won his match 2-0 versus Luis. But specifically what happened in the match was Brad cast Follow the Titans for 18, and Luis responded with Westvale Abbey, activating it one last time to deal himself the last point of damage. Goblin Dark Dwellers. Oh, and there's a hand extension.
Yeah,
Lucas
Oliver Tiu.
Yeah.
Lucas takes another peek, knows he can't win this game, and Oliver Tiu moves to 11-3. So Oliver will get a win and in next round.
Very nicely navigated. That seemed like one of those matchups where you just have to somehow end up in cards, and every card is a 2-for-1, and he managed to do that. We're going to move to one of our back matches, Sangeun versus Finkel.
Chai is what he goes by, apparently. Chai is down a game to John Finkel. Like Brad Nelson, he can get the Magic 12th win if he wins this round. Wow, congrats to Brad, by the way. How's his top 8 shaping up? Right now, on 12 wins, we have John Finkel, Luis Scott Vargas, and Brad Nelson.
Yeah.
That seems like an okay 1, 2, 3.
Just okay. It is. Yes, this is going to be a good top 8. I'm very excited about it. John has so many permanents. This is not usually something you see from his deck. And over on Chai's side of the battlefield, just an always watching. And not a lot of creatures to watch. We see a hand extension. Finkel's going to take this match. And yeah, this should lock him up, right?
Yeah, John now has the points he needs to absolutely mathematically rock-solid clinch. He's also in position to potentially be our #1 seed and be on the play for every match he plays in the top 8.
And that's huge.
Yeah. Chai, not out of it. He picks up the 3rd loss, so he's now back against the wall. He needs to stop losing if he wants to make the top 8.
We're going to move to one of our other back matches. We have more Magic here for you. It is Jeremy Dasani versus Seth Manfield.
And I wondered if some of these control decks would be a little vulnerable to mono-white humans, but Chai with the quick O2 there.
Yeah.
See how he does next round, I'm sure.
How good did humans do just this weekend in general?
It advanced from day 1 to day 2 quite well.
Okay.
It was like 70%. It was well above par.
Do we know how well it's doing running deeper into the tournament?
Well, I mean, we'll see, right? We're watching all the people play for top 8. That's the first one we've seen in a couple rounds. I know Yu Yu Watanabe is also in contention with mono-white humans. So there are a couple running around. I'm really struck by the diversity here at the top.
This is shaping up to be a very cool standard format. So there is an Avacyn, Archangel Avacyn in Jeremy's hand, which is going to make these attacks. Yeah, it's going to make it's going to put a serious clock on Seth as well.
Wow. So this was end step collected company, untap. I've got Avacyn and I'm attacking into you.
Indeed. It's not where you want to be. Seth is going to animate that Shambling Vent, and looks like it's getting ready to block. Jeremy could take it out from blocking contention if he wants to, but he could also cast Avacyn. Really, it's his choice. They're all looking pretty good. Yeah, so 3 mana, Shambling Vent is tapped, can no longer block. And Seth is going to take a lot of damage here. 7 points, dropping them down to 3. Let's see what Seth Manfield can put together here.
Languish. Not bad.
Though Jeremy could hit something interesting here off of that Matter Reshaper. Transgress the Mind. He's going to go ahead and draw that.
Yeah, not nothing.
Archangel Avacyn flashes in.
Oh. He sacked Scion as a response to Languish, I guess. That was the 5th mana. And Avacyn will get it done.
That's going to be the match.
Well, that's on to game 3.
Oh, no, sorry. Excuse me. You're completely correct. Wow.
Yeah, Jeremy ties it up. We're going to see more Magic. Interesting. Yeah, Jeremy, he's been the collected company player we've seen the most in the future match area for sure. There's some of the Bant flavor running around. His Obzon, I think, has just done a little better. He's been able to brawl with some of the grindier decks that were built to beat Bant Company.
While our players finish shuffling and move on to a game 3, let's pan out and take a look at the players playing in the main area. Here we go. We are here in beautiful Madrid, Spain.
Oh, Raptor versus Wesco down there. It's a good match.
I see Pascal. Oh, he's not playing anymore, though, but you can see Pascal Maynard over there in the corner. It looks like they're done. Looks like they have finished their match. And we are approaching the end of this round, but we still have a lot of matches that are still finishing up.
Yeah, these are huge matches. I mean, we obviously focus on top 8 and, the players that are trying to get to come back on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, the matches happening off camera are I mean, there's so much money and in particular, so many pro points on the line. The difference between hitting gold or hitting silver, that 10, do I get 10 points or do I get 15 points match happens off camera a lot in the final round. Those are just world spots being determined. Who gets to fly around the world next year being determined.
And this is a really cool thing if you ever get a chance to either play or even visit a pro tour is you walk around and you take a look at these matches, and they could all be feature matches. You can see a lot of these in a GP, and these would be feature matches. And
you see the way the pipe and drape is set up, too. They do a great job of making it so you can basically watch whatever match you want to watch if you do come to the Pro Tour. I mean, there aren't big side events, but that's because you should be watching the main event. And you can watch basically any match you want, and the big screen set up to watch the top 8 on Sunday as well. Yeah, Seth and Jeremy busily shuffling up. Neither player wants a draw here, that's for sure. It's probably worse for Jeremy.
Yeah, so taking a look at their decks and their sideboard, who do you think this favors once they go post-board?
I mean, I thought coming into the matchup that Esper Control would be advantaged. I mean, obviously part of the reason Seth chose to play this deck is he believes he's got a good matchup against Collected Company. But, I mean, the results seem to say that Jeremy's sideboard was pretty good. Didn't get to see a lot of that game to know what it was that specifically helped him.
So after taking a look at all the decks that we have had in the feature match area, Randy, if you had to sleeve something up for this weekend, what would you play?
Well, I know what colors it would be.
Green-black?
It would be green-black. I still have some decisions to make after that. I don't know. I mean, the Aristocrats deck that Luis is playing strikes me as probably the more powerful, but the Control deck, the Seasons Past deck that John Finkel is playing, is probably a little more my style.
Sure.
I'd probably wind up sleeving up Finkel's deck.
Yeah, it's a very cool deck.
Oh, Transgress the Mind looks like the big sideboard card for Jeremy. It does seem very powerful in this matchup.
He has a lot of them.
The full set of 4 in the sideboard. Should still have a fair amount of time left in this match, right? It's still fully 15 minutes, it sounds like. And that's in the main event. These guys probably have another 5 beyond that. So 20 minutes. They've used less than 2/3 of the time in the round for those first 2 games.
And these do look like games that could go potentially pretty long.
They could, and Jeremy did pick up a draw against, I believe it was against Shota Yasaoka, who's on Esper Dragons yesterday, last round. So he's in that weird spot where, since he's already got a draw, he can't ID his way in. At the same time, though, he actually still has a loss to give. He's on X2-1, I guess 10-2-1.
Yeah.
So he needs to win 2 of the next 3, but he can lose 1 of them. And he's not looking for a draw. He's looking for 2 Ws.
Oh, he's gonna claw his way into this top 8. At least that's his plan. So he's gonna have to fight the honest fight.
I mean, keep talking about how people can get draws, though, but you think about it, John has no reason to draw with anybody. He's locked. He just wants the 1 seed. And Luis is also sitting at the top of the standings, but those guys can't play. They've already played each other. So you can sometimes get this weird thing where the people at the top of the Swiss have all been paired against each other already, and they keep getting paired down. They keep grabbing, players that are in win-and-ins rather than players who can intentionally draw. That could be an issue for Brad in particular, who's, because Brad, John, and Luis have been at the top of the standings the whole time, there aren't any pairings left amongst that trio. They've all happened.
And Seth Manfield is on a mulligan to 6 right here. Evolving Wilds is the play for Jeremy.
Into Deathcap Cultivator.
Here you see Deathcap Cultivator, 2 mana. Add a green or black to your mana pool.
I'm trying to make sense of Jeremy's deck and sort of how it actually works. It looks like, I mean, the more I look at this list, the more it looks like it's kind of halfway between the Aristocrats deck and the Bant Company deck. You know, he's got 2 Nantuko Husks. He's got 4 Catacomb Sifters. I mean, being black instead of blue gives him access to those cards. But he's also got, you know, the 4 Archangel Avacins.
Honestly, it looks like Abzan good stuffs.
It really does.
Is what I would use to describe
right,
this deck.
there's a black-white control deck that's been running around. Black-white, I guess, mid-range, black-white value with, like, Eileys, and this is close to that, too.
Right, because you have things like, you know, you're splashing for things like Matter Reshaper, and that's a 2-for-1, and, you know, Collected Company hits a lot of the creatures in here, but then you also have Archangel Avacyn, which is obviously incredibly powerful card. And then random copies of Tragic Arrogance just to reset the board every now and then.
And there we see those sideboard transgresses doing good work, taking a Narset out of Seth's hand. Yeah, it's almost like he's got elements of 3 or 4 different archetypes all shuffled together, which, I mean, sometimes that can make a deck inconsistent, but what it always does is make your deck really hard to play against.
Right, you just never know what your opponent might have. Could be a 2-for-1.
Oh, no,
Could be an incredibly powerful creature like Avacyn.
Suddenly there's Eldrazi Displacer shenanigans going on.
How many cards in hand? 6.
And it has a nice synergy here with Elvish Visionary as well. Even Nissa Vastwood's here.
Yeah, but it's all, a lot of it is 2s and 3s. I don't know, it's a cool deck.
Anguish Unmaking, taking down that Cultivator.
Wow.
We haven't seen Anguish Unmaking too much this weekend. It's like a very powerful removal spell.
The decks that can cast it seem to have a couple. I mean, it's 3 mana and life makes it kind of a, it's not a great 1-for-1 removal spell, but I mean, it is, the flexibility is obviously great. I mean, you can kill Planeswalkers, you can kill almost whatever that troublesome permanent is. I mean, sometimes you just need to kill a 2-1, which is what Seth concluded he needed to do here.
Importantly, Jeremy found a land off the top of his deck.
I think that's why Seth decided that he really needed to kill that 2-1. It taps for mana. I don't want you to have mana. Can Seth punish him, though?
Yeah, so Jeremy's falling behind here in this game, and it's possible that Seth could punish him, but though he does have not a lot of pressure right now.
And not even a little bit of pressure. So his hand is all removal, right? Grasp, Ruinous Path, Languish.
Still not a land. Nissa, Vastwood Seer, which will help him find the 4th land, though while he can't cast it, it's not going to do much.
Does still have a Visionary, so at least gets to do a little something.
14. You go.
Oh, that was Sylvan
is a
Advocate, my
play.
bad. I thought that was Elvish Visionary.
He does run many copies of Elvish Visionary in his deck. Ruinous Path taking down that Sylvan Advocate and a Jace for Seth Manfield. Pass back to Jeremy. There's a Plains, so this is a start. He's going to have to take 1 damage here from the Llanowar Wastes. But this Nissa's going to find a 4th. Oh, he's actually going to choose to take down that Jace. Exile him. Anguish Sunmaking takes care of him.
It's 19.
Shambling Vents attacks. Seth doing his best to attack Jeremy while he's still stumbling on mana.
Pick 1.
But not exactly what his deck is built to do.
Yeah, he's digging his way out, though, here.
Yeah.
This is going to find him another forest.
For sure.
And he drew a Collected Company this turn.
Oh, wow.
What's wrong?
Well, Shambling Vents keeps coming over.
Getting in there. It also,
I mean, the Llanowar Waste is doing good work for Seth, too. The combination is kind of 3 points a turn.
yeah, but now he gets to untap with 4 mana.
Yeah, and a Nissa, and that. His last 5 feel like they're going to be pretty hard to do.
Yeah, so the Deathcap Cultivator was exiled due to that Anguish stun making from earlier. But now, Jeremy gets to untap with 4 mana. That Shambling Vent isn't going to be enough to continue pinging him down. He is at 5 life, though. He's just going to pass back to Seth. Seth passes back to Jeremy. Jeremy's going to collect the company at the end of the turn. He doesn't have to take damage anymore either.
Basic Forest.
Eldrazi Displacer and Sylvan Advocate for Jeremy.
Not bad.
Yeah, and the Shambling Vent can't attack anymore, so Seth's going to have to find a different win condition here.
Llanowar Waste makes colorless mana, of course. Displacer can start flipping Nissa if Jeremy just wants more lands.
That's a very cool interaction.
Does have an Elvish Visionary as well. Here's Transgress.
So let's take a look at Seth's hand. Obnixilis, Planner Outburst, Grasp of Darkness, and Ultimate Price.
So Eldrazi Displacer is not going to live long enough to do too much. Jeremy takes note of what he's going to have to play around for the rest of this game.
So taking a look at his hand, at this point he has to basically sculpt a way to win this game.
Right.
Given what he sees in his hand. What would you choose, given what's going on the battlefield right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's a question of which is going to be harder to play around, Obnixilis or Planar Outburst. Gets rid of the Obnixilis.
Decides that it's Obnixilis, leaving Seth with Planner Outburst, Ultimate Price, and Grasp of Darkness.
I think that makes sense.
All removal, basically.
Right. I think it makes sense for Obnixilis because the Planar Outburst, it's going to do its thing once, and then it's kind of done.
Yeah.
Whereas Obnixilis can just have this incremental advantage every turn. It can be doing something. So.
And Obnixilis starts out at pretty high loyalty too, so it's going to take him a while to actually take care of it if it does come down to the battlefield. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, Jeremy does have creatures that could potentially attack that Planeswalker, but there's just so much removal. The 1-for-1 removal in Seth's hand means Obnixilis would probably stick around, or at least potentially stick around for a couple of turns.
So Jeremy finally in a position where he can begin to attack. Eldrazi Displacer is going to get in there.
Yeah, I
for
think
3.
Jeremy just wanted to commit enough to the board to force Seth to pull the trigger on that.
Do you think he needed one more Elvish Visionary, or was it enough with what he had?
I think playing the Visionary to draw another card made sense. Because he's been a little pinched on mana, he sort of wanted to be able to follow up with 2 threats and then 2 threats, which is how this is played out.
Mm-hmm. So Eldrazi Displacer and Matter Reshaper for Jeremy. The pressure's back on. Grasp of Darkness can take care of that Displacer, but Matter Reshaper hits for 3 every turn. 2 Archangel Avacynths in Jeremy's hand.
Wow. Matter Reshaper playing defense against Shambling Vent. That is what Jeremy's representing. And I think Seth's going to fall for it. I mean, he's got to be tempted to fire up Shambling Vent. No, okay, maybe not going to fall for it. He drew Narset. He's got something better to do with his mana.
Yeah.
Saw him tapping mana that looked almost like Shambling Vent mana. I mean, Jeremy's on 4. 2 hits from a Shambling Vent would be good enough. So, I mean, what Jeremy wanted was Seth to kill his Matter Reshaper, come over with Shambling Vent, and then Avacyn would just swoop down from the skies and surprise him. But Seth is too good to fall for that.
So Jeremy is going to flash in Avacyn. Seth's going to take care of that Avacyn with that Ultimate Price. But we know that there's a second Avacyn in Jeremy's hand. Matter Reshaper rumbles, taking Narset down 3 loyalty. Narset takes up, reveals Grasp of Darkness.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, if this Narset keeps hitting, it's not going to matter how many Avacyns Jeremy draws.
Kalidas comes down on the battlefield. And once again, Seth not falling for attack with Shambling Vent into my life total.
Right.
Because Avison would have been pretty good right there. Though, does Seth have enough mana to also cast? Yeah, he would have had enough mana. Yeah, he would have been able to grasp.
But I mean, getting Kalitas onto the board before creatures start dying is great.
So in comes Avison.
Jeremy does go. Yeah, he kind of has to run Seth out of stuff and hope that he draws better than Seth from here.
Jeremy draws a Swamp, and the Eldrazi Displacer is the other card in his hand. This is not a very good board presence, though, and this Narset is continuing to draw Seth so many cards every turn.
Feels like Seth is stabilized.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't punish Jeremy's mana screw. Jeremy was able to deploy his hand, but Seth just has had enough to withstand that. And now Jeremy's out of stuff, and Seth's still on 16.
Narset is a Planeswalker we haven't seen very much of in Standard, but it looks very good in this deck.
Yeah, I've seen Andrew Cuneo try it in a couple of blue-white builds.
Mm-hmm.
It's never looked great, though. I agree with you. It has looked better here than I've seen it
Yeah.
look before.
It just, this deck just has a lot of things it can hit. And I think that's one of the biggest drawbacks with Narset is just, you know, she starts out at a very high loyalty, but then if she doesn't draw you very many cards, what do?
Mm-hmm.
Grasp of Darkness.
Which has been rebounded by Narset. Displacer's going to kill a zombie before it goes away. Zombie comes back thanks to Kalitas and attack.
Shambling Vent's going to get in there too. So Matter Reshaper getting in front of that Shambling Vent. So that's going to gain 2 life. And Jeremy's going to get to see 1 card off the top of his deck. Oh. Now that's...
Seth Manfield, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. Seth will take this match 2-1 over Jeremy Dasani. Where does this put Seth now?
11-3. He'll probably be in the feature match area next round. He'll definitely be playing to get that magic 12th win. If he can win next round, he hopes to draw the last round. Or honestly, in Seth's case, he's been at the top of the standings so long, his tiebreakers might be good enough to sneak in on 12-4. Like, we keep saying these guys need a draw, but probably not all of them.
Yeah.
It's always tricky coming down to the last round. I feel like you usually get 1, maybe 2 people making the top 8, even on 12-4.
Yeah, so what's our top 8 looking like right now?
It's just...
Stacked?
It's stacked. Yes. It's stacked. We'll just leave it there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It's going to be good. We have 2 more rounds of Standard here at Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad. You have lots of Magic coming your way. And we'll see. We'll see who takes down Standard this weekend. It's time for us to send it to Rich over at the news desk.
Gabby, Randy, thank you so much. You are looking down at Brian David Marshall, Dave Humphries on the left there from Inside R&D. And the team there is round a match between Gregor Kowalski of Poland with his Sultai control deck against Luis Salvato, an RPTQ winner from Argentina with red-white goggles. Both these players on 10 wins right now, and that means at 10-3, here they are still in round 14. Both these players are still playing for top 8. Brian David Marshall, you're right there. What's happening?
Well, the key, you said 10-3, but the key number here is 6. That's how much life Kowalski has left. He found a virulent plague with Dark Petition just in time to take out a lethal army of tokens. El Salvato slammed a Chandra into play before realizing that those tokens were going to die. And I'm just trying to keep an eye on this. A Thought-Knot Seer took out
the Thought-Knot Seer goes away, Bidiam, because of To the Slaughter.
Oh, there we go. Sacrificing a clue.
In case you don't recognize these players, I can confirm Kowalski's on the right. Guess how I know?
It's on his jersey.
Correct.
Okay. An attack from Needle Spires drops Kowalski to 2. He has to find something this turn.
Oh, there's a Pick the Brain. on the right-hand side there. Looks like there's an Obnixilis reignited there, BDM. It is Pick the Brain. Let's have a look over there.
Sees Magmatic Insight, Secure the Waste, and Thought Not Seer.
How thoughtful of turning those towards the camera. The winner here will go to 11-3, and we'll know that with 2 wins, or even 1 win and a potential draw in the final round, they will be in.
So worth noting, Rich, the match is past time, but there was a 5-minute extension on this round. It looks like there are 11 matches outstanding on the floor right now.
For those of you desperate to get your hands on the latest deck technology, I can tell you that at the end of this match, we'll be going back to the news desk, and Ian Duke is waiting for us with Pierre Dajon with the red-green goggle ramp deck. So that's coming right up live here at the Home of Magic for you.
So that Secure the Waste is basically a blank card with Virulent Plague on the table. Magmatic Insight digs. Animate Needle Spires. It trades. Oh, he did have a Hissing Quagmire in there.
Mm-hmm. Kowalski playing by far his best Pro Tour so far, BDM. It's his 5th Pro Tour, 54% win rate so far. Well, 10-3 is rather better than that by my calculation. Got to come back thanks to being a top finisher at Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch. He's looking on course for that kind of finish here again.
This is a Conclave Naturalists. Comes down, obviously a sideboard card. I believe the judge was checking that he didn't have to kill his own enchantment. You see Lightning Axe discarding that blank. Secure the Wastes, clears the way. Here comes Needle Spires, and that's the match, Luis Salvato.
The Argentinian RPTQ winner gets the job done, and he is on the brink. He's 11-3. Dan Ward, you see there, coming in. Wow, that's a fantastic performance by the Argentinian. He's still very much alive in this tournament. BDM, that was fantastic stuff. There you see Salvato. He will play next round to see if he can get to 12-3 and then potentially handshake with a Hall of Famer to see if he can get into the top 8 of what is turning into one of the great top 8s here at Pro Tour SOI. We're going to take you back inside the studio, and it is time for Deck Tech as promised. Here comes Red Green Goggle Ramp with Pierre Dajon.